Winter gardening has a reputation problem, and that's exactly why so many gardeners unknowingly sabotage their soil the moment temperatures dip. The biggest shock is this: winter isn't the enemy of your garden, it's one of the most powerful seasons for building richer soil, sweeter harvests, and cleaner growing beds. Most gardeners shut everything down far too early, losing out on nature's free fertilizer, its built-in pest control, and its underground cold storage system that can keep crops fresh, long after fall. If you've ever assumed winter meant stop gardening, then you're about to unlock a whole new level of effortless soil health here on Crop Corner. Now let's dig right into the 5 winter lies that cost gardeners nutrient-rich soil, extended harvests, and some of the easiest wins of the entire year. Root crops don't actually need rescuing before the freeze. One of the most persistent winter myths convinces gardeners to panic harvest every root crop before temperatures drop. But, this rushed harvest not only shortens your food supply, it also interrupts one of winter's most convenient gifts: natural underground storage. The truth is simple. Carrots, parsnips, beets, turnips, rutabagas, and potatoes really thrive beneath the soil long after the air has turned cold. Winter slows their respiration, preserving firmness, sweetness, and texture better than most indoor storage methods. What makes this so effective is insulation. As soon as the weather starts to cool, cover your root beds with a 6 to 8 inch layer of dried leaves, then lay a tarp over the top to hold that warmth in place. When snow arrives, don't disturb it, because snow becomes an additional insulating blanket. Weeks or months later in the middle of winter, you can just lift the tarp, brush away the leaf cover, and pull up roots that taste sweeter than fall harvests. Cold triggers those crops to convert stored starches into natural sugars, giving winter roots their legendary flavor. So, instead of rushing to harvest everything early, let your soil act as the root cellar it was designed to be. Snow is not punishment for your garden, it's protection. A lot of gardeners glance outside after a snowfall and, picture their soil struggling under the cold. But that assumption couldn't be further from the truth. Snow is actually your garden's winter shield. It traps pockets of air that keep soil temperatures more stable, preventing the deep freeze-thaw cycles that damage soil structure and root systems. With snow in place, soil organisms stay active longer instead of collapsing into total dormancy. And here's the surprising bonus. As snow melts, it captures nitrogen from the atmosphere and carries it straight into your soil. Gardeners have long called it poor man's fertilizer for a reason. That slow nitrogen release feeds microbes, improves spring soil structure, and gives early greens the boost they need when temperatures begin warming. So next time a storm rolls in, just think of it as nature delivering a blanket and a nutrient snack for your garden, all free of charge. Winter doesn't kill all growth, your garden simply shifts into low gear. Another popular misconception convinces gardeners that winter means nothing can survive. This, leads many to abandon their beds entirely, missing out on months of fresh greens. Plants like kale, spinach, arugula, and chard handle winter far better than most gardeners realize. They slow down during the coldest spells, but they stay alive, crisp, and harvestable all season. Kale, in particular, becomes noticeably sweeter after frost. Like root crops, it also converts starches to sugars as temperatures drop. Spinach and arugula tolerate extended cold and even days buried under snow, and whenever temperatures rise briefly, into the 40s or low 50s, these plants resume growth long before spring planting begins. Instead of treating winter as a dead zone, view it as a slow-motion extension of your growing season. A garden that keeps producing while grocery store prices climb is one of winter's biggest rewards. Soil life doesn't sleep during winter, it shifts into a quiet but powerful rhythm. One of the most damaging winter lies is the belief that soil biology shuts down completely when temperatures fall. In reality, it keeps working. Slower, yes, but steadily. Microbes, fungi, and even earthworms remain active far longer than most gardeners expect, especially when the soil is protected. This is exactly why winter is the perfect season for chop and drop mulching. Instead of tearing spent plants out of the soil and removing valuable nutrients, simply cut them at the base and let the remaining biomass rest on the soil surface. This protects the soil from erosion and, feeds microbial communities throughout the cold months. Want to take it further? Add a layer of semi-finished compost before covering it with mulch. During winter, organisms break this material down into dark, rich humus so that by early spring your soil is already charged with life and nutrients. Winter isn't a pause, it's preparation happening underground at the perfect pace nature intended. Cold weather is your most effective pest and disease filter. Many gardeners fear winter because they believe the cold ruins gardens, but the opposite is often true. Winter acts as nature's reset button. Pests such as aphids, spider mites, cabbage moths, and whiteflies, they really depend on those milder winters to make it through. But when true cold sets in, their eggs just don't hatch, larvae end up freezing, and adult populations drop dramatically. Even those persistent fungal diseases that usually stick around on plant debris year after year, well, they end up much weaker after a stretch of consistent freezing weather. By the time spring rolls around, your garden actually gets the benefit of a much cleaner, healthier start. With fewer pests and less disease pressure, you end up with stronger seedlings, less leaf damage, and honestly, more productive crops overall. So, rather than dreading every frost, understand that winter is helping you fight the battles that would be far harder to manage in the heat of summer. Your garden isn't shutting down for winter, it's entering one of its most transformative seasons. Winter protects your soil, improves flavor, enhances storage fuels, microbial activity, and wipes out threats before the growing season begins. When you stop believing the outdated myths about winter gardening, you start partnering with nature instead of fighting it. And that shift changes everything. Winter becomes a season of protection, nourishment, and quiet growth, an ally you can depend on year after year. If you found this guide eye-opening and helpful, make sure you hit that subscribe button on Crop Corner and share this with another gardener who still believes winter is a dead season. Let's keep growing smarter together, no matter what the weather looks like.